What did the restraining order say? 6 feet.
I don't know what restraining order she's talking about, but
Oh, guess we're
um,
on.
yeah, yeah, we're definitely live. But y'all know me. I'm not important. This is I don't know what she want to go by. I'm gonna call her Lena. She has a
Yes,
bunch of different aliases, but
I do.
the reason why we're here today is because I met Lena because at my place of employment we had a crossover program, and she was like one of the first students to actually be a part of it. Pretty sure she didn't like her experience because I didn't like it, but she'll tell you a little bit about that too.
Yeah.
But the main reason is because over has it been a year now? Over the year or over the course of these months or whatever, she taught me some things too. I don't know if she knew that, and shockingly, hopefully, I would think I taught her some stuff too.
A
But
lot.
the reason that we're here, I'm continuing my journey on interviewing people of the industry, in the industry, and people who I feel are quality barbers. And though her style is a little different sometimes, it still gets the job done. And it's also to prove a point to like future students and current students that there's more than one way to skin a cat.
Exactly.
So with that being said, if you could tell the people, one, who you are, if you have social medias where they can follow you, and then just how you got your start.
Okay, well, my name is Lena West. Um, at this point, I don't really have any social media. I work at Salon Studios at Snellville, um, and I have Gloss Genius is my booking app. But I got my start about 15 years ago. I was in cosmetology school, and the instructor, she was actually a barber also. And so she noticed that I really enjoyed like cutting as opposed to doing jerry curls or roller sets, or that's what we were doing back home in Kansas, Wichita, DubK. Um, and so she said that I could work as as a barber under the cosmetology license.
Mhm.
And so I was like, oh yeah, absolutely. And so I graduated from there and then moved to Georgia. And I've only worked in barbershops since then. I've never worked in an actual like women's salon. I have my own salon studio, but then that was about 14, 15 years of actually being in barbershops and that kind of environment. So, I,
So, for clarification, you have your cosmetology license, and you've been doing barber-esque work under your
correct,
cosmetology license. Okay, got it.
correct.
So, what was the? I know you told me, but what was the reason you did the crossover program to get a barber's license after being successful in the industry for 10 plus years?
You know, originally I thought that I wanted to teach, and that's still kind of like up in the air. And so
Mm.
I knew that like I didn't want to teach cosmetology. I wanted to teach barbering, and so therefore I needed a barber's license to do that. I was absolutely blown away by the fact that when I went to barber school, there was so much that was like available to learn that like I would have thought that I would have gained throughout my years of experience. But yeah, it was extremely beneficial
Mm.
to actually go back to school and learn the barber way and learn the history of barbering, learn the value of barbering. So absolutely no regrets with that.
That's what's up. So like, I'm asking these questions because I'm pretty sure amongst the people that follow me, people who are inspiring to be barbers, not even well, I would hope you get your license, but people who are inspiring to be barbers, not only just good barbers, but to be good barbers. Like you already being like in the industry, saying that you came here and you were still able to learn and pick up on things that were able to be beneficial. As far as like, what were some of those things? If you could list maybe two.
For example, coloring. That was something that I was a weak point in
Mm-hmm.
my career. And so being able to take the refresher on coloring in the program made a huge difference in understanding like levels and tones and such. Whereas, to be honest with you, it was like trial and error. And now my clients probably didn't know that, but to be able to know that there was science behind it,
Mm-hmm.
and because I didn't remember all that whatsoever. Another thing is that through a lot of the cuts that I learned were from my coworkers, watching them cut hair. I would I wouldn't advise anybody in barber school to think that they're going to be proficient in cutting as soon as they graduate. It's a repetition thing. It's a just hands-on type of environment. I mean, you can't get it from a book necessarily. So there were cuts that I had struggled with because I didn't have them very often. But I realized through barbering school, there was actually a formula and a science to it that I could have been done with cuts. And so that was like amazing, eye opening, because I remember the anxiousness that I felt when I would be on top of somebody's head and had been cutting for a few years and was completely lost, completely blinded, and had to work my way out of the situation guessing. Whereas in barber school, because you're learning about angles and levels and things such as that, you have a formula that you can refer back to
Right.
on anybody's head.
Right. So that's for me, that's the main thing. It's like when I went through barber school, it was not so much learning how to cut, but having an understanding of why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Correct.
Like why, if I do it this way, it yields different results or whatever. And then as an instructor and as somebody who I hope is still inspiring to be an instructor, that's the hard part to convey to somebody who might have had the wrong perception when they came to school. It's like, okay, I already know how to cut. I'm coming here to get my hours and get my license. I can't learn anything from this program. So those are typically the people that are going to be harder to reach or harder to get through to if you don't know how to connect with them. And honestly, it kind of scared me when Miss Williams presented the crossover program to me, because I was like, how am I going to approach these people who are already licensed? Like, how am I going to get through to these people who may feel like they know it all? And it wasn't that experience at all. Like, because you came in with an open mindset. I don't know if it was me or if it was Miss Hunter, but you came in with the, oh no, I don't know anything. Like, I'm trying to learn everything. And that's what I'm saying. And that can be appreciated, because even with me being an instructor, being a barber for over 10 years, like, there's still things that I learned. And like I said, it's things that you may not have known that you taught me that I can't pinpoint at this moment, but there were things that were happening and things that had been done that just led me to think like, okay, maybe I should try this. Or just a simple fact of, I think I was saying to somebody in a previous interview that I did, but it was photography related, and he asked me like, what was some of my some of the things I felt like I could improve on or work on or whatever, being a mentor to him in photography. And I was telling him it's just being confident in myself and believing in my skill set, because you've told me on many occasions like, you're really good at what you do. And I guess it's my parents, but I approach life with a level of humility or humbleness, because like, I still want to grow. I still want to be better. Like, even though what y'all see me do and think what I do is awesome, I want it to be better. So as a student and as a person who inspires to be an instructor, like, and you can say what you want to say, I don't care about this camera, what are some things that you still feel that I could improve on, or things that could have made your experience a little bit better?
I mean, I honestly don't have any complaints. I feel like you were accessible, and I felt like that you were knowledgeable on barbering, and so questions don't get answered if you don't ask them.
For
So,
sure.
but I never felt like ashamed, or like, you never came at me like, you should know this. You've been in the field for so long. It was always a welcoming, like, I'm here to help no matter what level you are, because just like in nursing. So I was a former nurse. So you may be a nurse for 20 some years, but that doesn't mean that you have the education level or you have the knowledge that another nurse has.
Right.
Simply because maybe she's been working with pediatrics for her whole career,
Right.
and the other one is a correctional nurse. So you can't just say what somebody knows, but what you can do is have the opportunity for them to grow and improve on whatever it is that they're lacking. So, like I said, one of my issues was color. I was completely intimidated by color, and that's something that is really very lucrative. But I was like, no, I'll just stick to you know, what I know, slapping Beijing and painting fibers on mustaches, and I'm not gonna do any more than that. But coming to Gwinnett Tech has given me like the confidence to jump out and try different things, and you know, just be confident, and
Yeah, I mean,
it's gonna be all right.
yeah, it's definitely gonna be all right. And just understanding that I tell y'all I'm completely transparent with my students and anybody that I interact with. I told y'all I didn't fully learn and understand color until I was forced to teach it. And I don't even want to say forced to teach it, but like it was presented to me because nobody else here wanted to teach it. It's like, well, I don't know how to do color. I don't feel right teaching it. I was like, well, I have a base knowledge of it. I have a base understanding of it. I know how to formulate, and I have my book. I can go back and read my book. So that's why I tell y'all when y'all leave school, for people who are in barber school, when you get out, don't throw those books away, man. Those books are valuable. Like you can always go back and refresh yourself, or always go back and re-up on something that you felt like you were weak in, or a department that you was weak in. And just the way we teach in our class, it's just like I may not be able to relate to everybody on the same level that you can. They might look at me like you did when you first got here, like with a level of intimidation, like, okay, this person presents themselves as if they know everything. I tell y'all from the gate, I don't know everything. I'm not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but I will tell you what I've learned, what I've experienced, and what will help you be successful in the industry. And I use that and I apply that to everything. And it was the same way with color, because coming out, I wasn't fearful of it, but I knew it was a lot more I needed to learn just from experimenting and trial and error. And like I said, if it wasn't for me having to teach things, I probably wouldn't have gotten a better understanding of it either. Because now I'm not only responsible for what I mess up, I'm responsible for what the rest of these people in this class mess up, because we take live clients. So putting that pressure on myself and then understanding that I still always am always evolving. I want to be a better version of myself and to present myself to other people. I'm mad you don't want to be honest with these people and tell them what you thought bad about me. She's gonna say it after we turn the camera off. But a popular question that I always ask people, or barbers in particular, is being in this industry, learning how to fade the way you learn how to fade. Do you think that it's more a tool thing or a technique thing?
It's definitely a technique thing in my eyes. I actually had a pair of really expensive walls that I traded a coworker of mine about a year or two ago for some like really cheap Chinese clippers. Why? Because they felt better in my hands, and I felt like I was able to fade with them better than the really expensive walls. So I definitely think that it's a technique, a pressure thing.
Sure.
You can watch a million YouTube videos, but you can't tell what the pressure is that the barber is using. And you're like, well, why didn't my fade come out like theirs? Well, that's one of those things that it can't be taught except for you failing and repeating the same haircut and trying to get better than what you did the last time. So, yeah.
I agree. I'm a firm believer of it's more the technique than the tool. Some people will say it's a combination of both. My thing and my theory on the tool aspect of it, the more expensive, it's only going to help you get from A to Z a little bit faster. Or it might make your job a little bit easier. But if you don't know how to use that $500 clipper, then it now values at $2 because you don't know how to use it. Or it's just sitting off to the side because you never took the time to learn how to properly use it, or the techniques you needed to use in combination with that tool. So again, I agree with you. I appreciate you for sitting down and having this conversation.
Absolutely.
And yeah, hopefully you will get that instructor's license and come back and teach so I can go home.
Listen, just hit my Cash App after this. That's all I gotta
for
say.
sure, for sure. Oh, and another thing that I try to tell people, well, not people, but because I also help out at a high school and I teach people on a high school level, and because they're young and they're still impressionable, they try to be what I am, or they try to be what I was. Like that's kind of impossible because it's a billion different people on this earth. So even if you do get into it, like don't approach it with as a short-term goal, like, okay, I want to approach this the way that my instructor approached it. but eventually you have to adapt and adopt your own style, right?
Right.
So that's only gonna make it more enjoyable for you, because if you approach it and you go into it trying to teach it the way that you were taught, or trying to emulate something or somebody else that you see, it's not gonna be enjoyable for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't say that I started that way, because my mentor was still in Florida, and I didn't want to teach the class the way she taught, because yeah, there have been a lot of sheer cuts. But nah. So I'm saying that to say, like, so when you do get into it, don't let that be a reason that you shy away from it either. Because you probably be in your brain thinking like, I couldn't do that, I couldn't teach that, and that's not the case. You don't know the situation you'll get into, and there's always people that'll help you.
That's true.
The people that you work with, I'm always a phone call away, if that hadn't been proven.
Y'all see, he's really trying. He's really trying to work his way out of this job.
No. I'm gonna keep the job for as long as they allow me to be here. But like, I do understand the need for people of high integrity, and people who have the passion to want other people to do it. And you've shown that in your willingness to help the class when I had given up on them and stuff of that nature. But I didn't give up on them. But it's understanding the group that you're teaching, understand how they learn and interpret information. Because I've been told I have a way of presenting things as if everything is easy. I haven't adapted yet. I haven't learned how to rewrite that. Because in my brain, some things is just that simple, but some people don't compute it that way. So it's just having Lena around to explain it this way, like, hey,
Well,
maybe you should try it this way.
I think I had an advantage by being a student and then also being a professional at the same time.
Right.
So, I'm here on the student level, and then, we're talking to each other, and I'm getting to know them in an intimate manner. So it's easier for me to share certain things because that intimacy is there, because we're all in the same boat student wise. So I think I kind of had a little edge, but I appreciate the fact that you would let me do me at times and be able to help in a way that I could help share certain things. So, but one of the things is, like you said, a lot of times you think that you're supposed to be in a certain level cutting wise, and the reality is you're not. You're not. As much as you want to, it's really all about those heads. The numbers of heads that you get you to where you want to be. One of the students asked me, at what point did I feel like, oh yeah, I definitely got this, like I'm smooth, and it was like several years, because every head that would come in there, I was like, oh, okay, let me formulate what I'm gonna do. Whereas now I can, it's about a split second, and I know exactly what I'm gonna do. I can walk in the mall, see a haircut, and know exactly the steps that it took to do that. And that barber's eye takes a while to be created, and that's nothing that you can just wake up one day and you're gonna have it. And so you can't beat yourself up if you're still struggling in that area.
Right.
So
I can honestly say it was like 3 years in for me.
Yeah.
Because when I attacked it hard, because like I said, I'm not gonna call myself a perfectionist, but I do like to gain understanding of stuff, and I don't like being the bottom of the barrel. So I like being amongst the best in anything that I do, whether it's cutting, racing, driving go-karts. I don't care. I want to be somewhat of the best in
Uno, spades.
I want to be proficient at it, right? So yeah, you don't want to see me on spades. That's crazy. Counting cards and everything. Anyways. But no, I do it to gain an understanding. So I knew exactly when I had made it, and it wasn't the fact of me being able to do a clean fade. It was me being able to repeat it. So
that right there.
It was 3 years in when I had clients that would come back, and they would tell me, like, even to this day, I got a customer, Vusa, if you out there, he counts the number of accurate haircuts. I think we're at number 7. So he's like, you haven't missed yet.
Wow.
So it's like, I pride myself on that.
Yeah.
So it's just like, that's what I want to teach barbers. Like, don't just be in it for the money. The money will come. But you want to be consistent. You want to be persistent. You want to be able to get to a point to where if somebody came with you, hey man, how did you do that ball fade? You can tell them how you did it.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So that's the goal. And I think I had got to that point about 3 years in, because I had some tough critics. But them shops I worked in, it was some bad barbers in there. Like, they could cut, and they would call you out if you messed some stuff up.
Yeah.
Like, not in front of the customers. You want to be discreet and you want to be professional or whatever. But they would tell you, like, once that person walked out, like, woo-hoo-wee. But yeah, again, we should have wrapped up 5 minutes ago. But yeah, appreciate you for joining me and sitting here and being interrogated.
And like I said, hit my Cash App.
She ain't got no cash app.
Dude.